They told you it was just age. That feeling of slowing down. The fatigue before noon. The silence growing in the bedroom. All labeled as natural after 60. And for years, maybe you believed them. Maybe you accepted that being less intimate, less alive, less like yourself was part of growing older. But let me tell you something I've seen over and over in my 20 years of medical practice with men over 60. Aging doesn't mean fading. Last week, a 72-year-old gentleman named Mr. Alvaro was rushed to the hospital after collapsing in the bathroom. His wife feared the worst, a heart attack. The ambulance arrived, they ran all the tests. But his heart was fine. The real issue? His intimate arteries were nearly blocked. Completely. No one had ever told him. Because hardly anyone talks about this. About the fact that long before your heart shows signs of failure, your smallest blood vessels, the ones responsible for pleasure, energy, and presence, begin to shut down quietly. If your skin always feels cold, if your steps have lost rhythm, if intimacy feels like a distant memory, the problem may not be time passing by, but your circulation, screaming in silence for help. I'm Dr. Helena Moura, a urologist and specialist in men's health after 60, and what I'm going to show you today might surprise you, not because it's complex, but because it's simple, accessible, and effective. We'll talk about one food you probably already have at home, one food that most men have misunderstood for years, and used the wrong way, it can do more harm than good. But when used correctly, it can be the turning point for your health, your confidence, and your connection with yourself, and with someone you love. Now listen closely. Circulation is not just about heartbeats and blood pressure. It's the flow of life inside you. It's what warms your fingers, powers your thoughts, sharpens your senses, and awakens your desire. When circulation slows, you don't collapse all at once. You fade, piece by piece. You may find yourself forgetting words you've used your entire life. You step into a room and forget why. You lie down at night and feel like a part of you isn't fully there. You touch but don't feel. You love but hesitate. And I see it in their eyes. Men like Jorge, 68 years old, a former bus driver who retired a few years ago. He takes daily walks, eats healthy, tries his best. But he came to my office, sat down, and said, "Doctor, I'm not sick, but I don't feel alive either. I wake up, I breathe, I move, but I'm just waiting." That sentence, it hit me hard, because it's not just about sex. It's about identity, feeling whole, feeling awake, feeling masculine and grounded. And yes, circulation affects all of that, because your blood is not just a delivery truck. It's your vitality. It carries oxygen to your brain, powers your nerves, fuels your heart, and awakens those parts of you that connect, desire, respond. And yet, no one explains this. Doctors often say, it's just your age. Exams come back normal. But deep down, you feel something's off. And here's the truth. You're not wrong. In fact, you're incredibly wise for noticing it. Let's go a little deeper, shall we? As we age, our blood vessels lose flexibility. The inner lining, called the endothelium, starts to harden. Blood doesn't flow as freely. And the first to suffer are the tiniest vessels in your body: fingers, toes, and yes, your intimate regions. Did you know the blood vessels responsible for erections are the smallest in the male body? That's why problems show up there first, long before a heart attack, long before a stroke. The body starts whispering, and when we don't listen, the symptoms multiply. You start to feel less present, less awake. You can't explain it, but it's like you're watching yourself through fogged glass. And when blood doesn't reach where it needs to go, something dies. Not all at once, but day by day, you stop responding to the world around you. Intimacy fades, spontaneity disappears. You're still breathing, but no longer burning. But here's what no one tells you. This isn't irreversible. You can restore that flow. You can warm those hands. You can bring back natural morning vitality, not forced, not faked, but flowing. You can feel your mind clear up. You can feel connected again, to your body, to your partner, to your life. And no, it doesn't start with a pill. It starts with awareness, with breaking the lie that it's just age, with learning to listen to what your body is trying to say. And what if I told you that part of the solution starts at breakfast? Yes, one food. One simple food that has been demonized for decades, and yet may hold the power to open your vessels again, reawaken your sensitivity, and restore your clarity. But before we go there, let me show you what happens when circulation continues to be ignored, because the cost is far greater than you think. It's not just about energy, it's about your entire future. The first organ to suffer is your heart. Hardened vessels force your heart to work harder, like pushing blood through clogged pipes. That raises blood pressure, overworks your cardiac muscle, and leaves you exhausted even after sleeping well. Then, your brain. Less blood, less oxygen. Thinking becomes sluggish. You search for simple words. You forget why you walked into a room. And it's not the forgetting that hurts. It's the fog. That numbness. That feeling of being there. But not quite. Many of my patients say, "Doctor, I feel like I'm here, but not whole. Like I'm behind glass, watching myself." And worst of all, that disconnect spreads. Your intimate life becomes distant. Not from lack of love, but from fear, shame, and confusion. The blood doesn't arrive. The touch doesn't spark. The effort becomes exhausting. So you start avoiding it. You pull away from your partner. The silence grows between two people who still love each other, but don't know how to find their way back. Self-esteem withers. Confidence fades. The man you were, present, strong, vibrant, seems like a distant memory. And none of this shows up on standard tests, because this isn't about numbers. It's about the light in your eyes, the heat in your hands, the way you hold yourself when no one's watching. But let me tell you something, from one human being to another, this is not the end. This is not brokenness. This is a signal, a request from your body to be cared for, not ignored. And healing can begin with a tiny change, a daily ritual, a new way to greet your morning. In the next part, I'll reveal this powerful food, how it works, and how to use it the right way, because yes, even the healthiest food can backfire when prepared wrong. But before we continue, take a breath, close your eyes for a moment, feel your heart beating. Let me ask you this. Where are you watching this from? Tell me your city or your country in the comments. I'd love to know who's here, ready to live fully again. Let me take you back to something simple. Something most men overlook every morning, the egg. Yes, that common, familiar food that was once wrongly blamed for heart problems. For decades, people were told to avoid it, that it raised cholesterol, clogged arteries, and threatened the heart. Many older men, wanting to do the right thing, removed it from their breakfast entirely. They replaced it with dry toast or rushed black coffee, unknowingly depriving their bodies of one of the most powerful allies for circulation, memory, and even intimacy. But science has changed. And now, we know better. When consumed the right way, the egg supports your blood flow, sharpens your mental clarity, and restores the subtle signals that connect you to your body and to those you love. The secret lies in what the egg contains. It's rich in arginine, a natural amino acid that helps your body produce nitric oxide. This substance acts as a gentle relaxant for your blood vessels, helping them open so blood can flow freely and deeply into your tissues, including those more sensitive regions that often lose function first. It also offers choline, a vital nutrient that protects the thin lining inside your arteries from inflammation. That lining, called the endothelium, is key to healthy blood flow. When it stays elastic, your blood moves with ease, nourishing your heart, brain, and intimate areas. Inside each egg, you'll also find B vitamins, which are essential for turning food into energy and supporting your nervous system. They keep your body alert, responsive, and mentally sharp. In other words, the egg doesn't block, it opens. It doesn't slow you down. It helps restore your natural rhythm. But this isn't just about nutrients. This is about real people, real lives changing. I remember a man named Antonio, a 70-year-old retired math teacher. He walked into my office one day with tired eyes and a question I've heard many times before. "Doctor, I know I'm not young anymore, but is there still a way to feel truly alive?" He wasn't desperate. He wasn't asking for miracles. He was asking if it was still possible to reconnect with the part of him that felt lost. His routine was quiet. He slept well, took walks when he could, tried to eat decently. But his breakfast had been the same for years, just black coffee and white bread. No eggs. He avoided them because he was afraid they would harm his heart. I shared what we know now, that eggs, when chosen and prepared with care, could be a simple and powerful start toward change. I asked him to try adding 2 pasture-raised eggs to his breakfast each morning. Nothing fancy, just real food, cooked with awareness. 3 weeks later, Antonio returned. But the man who walked into my office that day was no longer burdened. He stood straighter. His skin looked warmer, and there was a light in his eyes that wasn't there before. He smiled and said, "Doctor, I can't explain it, but something inside me has started to wake up again." Another woman, Marina, told me about her husband Gilmar. He had stopped reaching for her in bed. She thought he had lost interest, that maybe their closeness was gone for good. But Gilmar wasn't avoiding her out of rejection. He was avoiding her out of shame. He felt like his body wasn't responding anymore, and he didn't know how to fix it. When Gilmar began supporting his circulation and included eggs in his morning meals, prepared gently, with good fats, without the harmful additives, something shifted. Marina said through tears, "He started to look at me the way he used to. Really look." That's the power of restoring the body's flow, and that's just the beginning. However, not all eggs are equal, and how you prepare them matters deeply. Many men come back to me after a few weeks saying they tried. They added eggs to their breakfast, but they didn't feel better. Some even said they felt more sluggish, heavier, or irritable. So I always ask the same thing: how did you cook them? That's when the truth comes out. Some are frying their eggs in processed oils, soybean, corn, or canola oil. These oils, especially when heated, break down into compounds that inflame and damage the blood vessels. The very things we're trying to heal become more irritated. Others are adding processed meats like bacon or sausage, thinking they're just adding protein. But they're really adding layers of sodium, chemical preservatives, and harmful fats. These ingredients quietly narrow the arteries even more. Some overcook the eggs. The yolk becomes hard. The white turns rubbery. The heat destroys the nutrients that were meant to heal. The choline is lost. The vitamins are weakened. The amino acids that help your circulation begin to disappear in the pan. And just like that, what should have been a healing meal becomes just another empty habit. It breaks my heart. Because these men wanted to do the right thing. They were trying to heal, but no one had shown them how. That's why I'm here. Not to just tell you what to eat, but how to use food as a tool for restoration. If you want to eat eggs for your health, begin with care. Use real fats, natural ones that come from the earth or from healthy animals. Choose extra virgin olive oil, or a little bit of grass-fed butter. If you like a tropical touch, a drop of coconut oil is gentle and flavorful. Keep the heat low. Let the egg warm slowly. Don't rush the process. A soft yolk holds the most healing power. Let it stay golden and rich, not chalky or dry. To support your blood flow even more, add leafy greens to your plate. Spinach, arugula, or kale can act like silent assistants inside your body, helping nitric oxide do its work and increasing the oxygen your blood can carry. And if you enjoy flavor, use herbs and spices that heal. Turmeric adds warmth and helps fight inflammation. Black pepper helps your body absorb the benefits. A sprinkle of fresh parsley brings freshness and supports digestion. This is not a recipe. It's a ritual. A moment to reconnect with your health. A chance to reclaim what you thought was lost. And it begins not in a clinic, not in a pharmacy, but in your own kitchen, with your own hands. In the next part, I'll show you how to build a complete breakfast around these ideas. We'll take what you've just learned and turn it into a daily habit that feels good, tastes good, and brings real results. But first, take a moment and reflect. Have you ever thought that the way you've been preparing your breakfast might be helping or silently hurting your health? And tell me something from the heart. Where are you from, and how do you usually start your mornings? I'd love to know the places and people walking this journey with me. Let's take everything we've talked about so far and turn it into something practical. A habit, a ritual, a moment of true restoration. When you wake up in the morning, your body is not just hungry for calories, it's craving clarity, circulation, and connection. Your blood hasn't moved much during the night. Your brain is slowly emerging from the fog of sleep. Your heart is searching for rhythm, and your intimate regions are waiting for the signals that only healthy blood flow can deliver. That's why breakfast matters more than most people realize. It's not just the first meal of the day. It's the first message you send to your body. And that message can either be, we're rushing, we're stressed, we're disconnected, or it can be, we're here, we're present, we're healing. So let me show you how to build a breakfast that brings your circulation back to life. We begin with eggs. Not just any eggs, but the kind that are raised naturally, from hens that roam and feed well. These eggs tend to be richer in nutrients and lower in harmful residues. But even if you don't have access to organic or pasture-raised eggs, you can still benefit. The key is how you cook them. Start slow. Let the pan heat gently. Add a small amount of extra virgin olive oil or butter made from grass-fed milk. Crack the eggs into the pan and allow them to warm slowly, preserving the softness of the yolk. When the yolk stays tender and rich, the nutrients stay alive. That richness, that deep yellow center, it's not just delicious, it's medicine. Alongside your eggs, bring color to your plate with dark leafy greens. A handful of spinach, a few leaves of arugula, or some lightly steamed kale can transform your breakfast from good to powerful. These vegetables are rich in natural nitrates, which help relax blood vessels and increase the production of nitric oxide, one of the most important molecules for blood flow and male vitality. And don't be afraid to season with intention. A touch of turmeric brings anti-inflammatory support. A bit of black pepper enhances its absorption. Fresh herbs like parsley or cilantro add brightness and help your digestion wake up gently. If you're still hungry, add half an avocado. Its healthy fats support hormone balance, protect the heart, and provide long-lasting energy without the crash of sugar. And for flavor, a little squeeze of lemon or a touch of grated ginger brings freshness and helps your body absorb more of what you're feeding it. Now imagine this plate in front of you. Warm, colorful, healing. Imagine sitting down with it, not rushing, not checking your phone, not eating out of habit, just sitting, just being there with your food and your breath, giving yourself permission to start the day with presence. You don't need fancy ingredients. You don't need a degree in nutrition. What you need is awareness. I've seen this simple breakfast change lives. A man named Davey, 74 years old, came to me last year. He had spent months feeling numb, not sad, not sick, just empty. He thought his age had caught up to him. He thought he was finished. I asked about his meals. Breakfast was always the same. Black coffee, nothing else. I suggested a shift, just a plate of real food every morning. 2 eggs, soft-cooked, a handful of greens, a spoonful of avocado, and patience. A week later, he called me. I still remember the sound of his voice. It was lighter, brighter. "Doctor," he said, "I didn't know food could do this. I feel like I'm in my body again." Another patient, Arnaldo, 69, had been living alone for years. He rarely cooked for himself. Most mornings, he skipped breakfast altogether. He said his hands were always cold, his thoughts scattered. He felt like he was drifting through the day. We talked about circulation. We talked about what happens when the body doesn't receive what it needs. He agreed to try. He cooked, every morning, slowly, gently. He came back a month later and said, "For the first time in years, I felt like I was taking care of myself. I'd forgotten how good that feels." These stories are not about miracles. They're about small shifts, about listening, about feeding the body not just with food, but with care. Your breakfast doesn't need to be a race. It can be a return to warmth, a return to presence, a return to yourself. When you sit down to eat, notice how your body responds. Feel the warmth of the plate, the richness of the yolk, the bitterness of the greens, the freshness of the herbs. All of it is part of the healing. All of it is a message to your cells. We are here. We are alive. We are coming back. In just 7 days, many of my patients report small but powerful changes. Their hands and feet grow warmer. Their thinking becomes clearer. Their energy lasts longer. Some sleep better. Others feel less anxious. And many begin to feel that spark of desire return, not just for intimacy, but for life itself. This is the power of giving your body what it needs in the right way. And when you share this meal with someone, a partner, a spouse, even a friend, it becomes more than food. It becomes connection. Because intimacy doesn't begin in the bedroom. It begins in the kitchen, with a plate of nourishment, with a shared moment of presence. In the next part, I'll take you even deeper. We'll talk about how restoring circulation isn't just about the body, but about restoring your dignity, your vitality, and your identity as a man. But before that, let me ask you something simple and honest. When was the last time you made a breakfast just for yourself, not out of habit, not out of hunger, but as a gift of care? And tell me, what's the first thing you usually do when you wake up? And where are you in the world as you listen to this? I'd love to hear about your mornings. Now that you've seen what a simple breakfast can do for your circulation, your energy, and your presence, I want to take you even deeper into something that often stays unspoken. Dignity. That word carries weight, especially for men who have spent a lifetime carrying others, family, work, responsibility, silence. Over the years, as the body begins to change, many men find themselves quietly losing something that once felt unshakable, their sense of self. It doesn't happen all at once. It happens in small moments. You start to notice your body feels colder. You catch yourself forgetting names, misplacing keys, losing track of a sentence halfway through. You stand in front of the mirror and feel like your reflection is slowly fading. You want to feel close to someone again, but the desire is buried under fear, doubt, or shame. And the hardest part? You don't talk about it. You hold it in. Because for many men, admitting there's a problem feels like surrender, like weakness. And that couldn't be further from the truth. There's a phrase I've heard many times in my office. It usually comes out softly, almost in a whisper. Doctor, I'm not sick, but I don't feel like myself anymore. And when I hear that, I know we're standing at the threshold of something important. Because that sentence means you're still aware. You still care. And most of all, you still have hope. What I want you to understand is this. What you're feeling is not your fault. It's not failure. It's not aging in the way the world tells you. It's circulation. Yes, something as invisible as blood moving inside your vessels can shape everything you feel. From the heat in your hands, to the sharpness of your thoughts, to the strength in your touch and the sparkle in your eyes. When that flow begins to slow down, you may feel like a part of you is slipping away. But it's not gone. It's simply waiting to be restored. Your body is not against you. It's asking for your attention. Let's talk about what happens when that blood no longer moves the way it should. The heart, first of all, begins to struggle. Imagine a pump trying to push water through clogged pipes. That's what your heart is doing every day when your vessels are narrowed or inflamed. It works harder. The pressure builds. And the energy you once had begins to burn out quickly. Even if you're sleeping well, even if you're not sick, you feel the tiredness in your bones. Then comes the brain. Without enough oxygen, your thoughts begin to blur. You can't find the right words. You forget what you were saying. You enter a room and forget why you went there. It's not that you're losing your mind. It's that your mind isn't being fed, not properly, not consistently. And that, over time, creates a fog. It's one of the most painful things I hear from my patients. Doctor, I feel like I'm here, but not present. Like I'm watching life from behind a screen. That sense of disconnection grows, and when it reaches your intimate life, it starts to pull everything inward. You stop initiating, you pull away. Not because the desire is gone, but because you're afraid the body won't respond. You fear the silence, the awkwardness, the disappointment, and so you retreat. This retreat is one of the most common but least talked about experiences of men after 60. It's not about losing love. It's about losing confidence. And yet, this story doesn't have to end that way. Because I've seen it change, again and again. When circulation is restored, the warmth comes back. The mind sharpens. The body responds. The presence returns. Slowly, yes, but steadily. And with it comes something even more powerful, a renewed sense of self. You begin to move through your day differently. You look at your partner with softness again. You feel yourself arriving, not just at work or at home or at the dinner table, but in your own skin. Fully, calmly, confidently. There's a man I'll never forget. His name was Kelso. He was 73, a quiet man, always composed, always polite. But something about his presence told me he was carrying more than he let on. During his first visit, he said little. He nodded, he listened. But at the end, when I asked what he hoped to feel again, he paused. He looked down for a long moment, then said, "I just want to feel like I matter. Not to others, to myself." That sentence stayed with me. Because it's what so many men carry. The quiet question, am I still here? Not just alive, but real, awake, needed, whole. Restoring circulation does more than bring blood to your tissues. It brings you back to yourself. It rebuilds trust, not just in your body, but in your ability to feel again, to engage, to live with dignity. And it doesn't require perfection. It doesn't require youth. It requires presence. The path begins in small ways. With food, yes. With breath, with sleep, with movement, but above all, with intention. And you don't have to walk it alone. In the next part, I'm going to show you how to support that restored blood flow with daily movement, not workouts, not pressure, but small, natural practices that tell your heart, your brain, and your intimate regions. I haven't forgotten you. I'm coming back. But before we get there, I want to hear from you. Tell me this. What part of your day makes you feel most alive? And when was the last time you felt truly present in your own body? Let's reconnect with that moment together. And tell me where in the world you are, because wherever you are, this message is for you. Let's continue walking this path together. We've talked about food, how something as simple as an egg, when treated with care, can begin to awaken the body. We've talked about circulation, how it's not just about blood, but about presence, clarity, and dignity. Now it's time to move, not with intensity, not with pressure, but with purpose. Movement is one of the oldest and most powerful tools for restoring blood flow, and yet many men avoid it, not because they're lazy, but because they've been taught that movement must be exhausting to be effective, that if you're not sweating, panting, or sore the next day, it didn't count. But I want to show you another way. You see, your body is like a river, and rivers don't stay clean by force. They stay clean by flowing. Stillness over time creates stagnation. But gentle, consistent movement is like wind over water. It stirs things up, it keeps things alive. That's why the kind of movement I'm talking about doesn't require gym clothes, special equipment, or a stopwatch. It requires only one thing: your attention. When you wake up in the morning, before reaching for your phone, before turning on the television, try this. Sit up slowly, feel your feet touch the floor, take a breath, roll your shoulders, move your neck from side to side. Gently, mindfully. These small movements wake up your nervous system. They tell your body, we're here, we're alive, we're flowing again. Then, take 5 minutes, just 5, and walk. Walk slowly around your home, or outside if you can. Not for distance, not for steps, just to feel the earth under you, to feel the blood begin to move. That 5-minute walk done every morning does more than people realize. It oxygenates your brain, it massages your internal organs, it stimulates lymphatic drainage, and most importantly, it tells your body that it's being used, respected, needed. I once treated a man named Jose. He was 76. He had been struggling with low energy, poor sleep, and feelings of detachment. His blood pressure was stable. His labs looked fine, but something was off. You could see it in his posture, in the way he carried himself. I asked him to begin walking, just 5 minutes twice a day, not as exercise, but as ritual. He was skeptical. He thought it wouldn't make a difference. But he agreed to try. 2 weeks later, when he walked into my office, there was something different. It wasn't his clothes. It wasn't his numbers. It was the way he looked up when he spoke, the way his eyes moved more freely. He said, "Doctor, it's strange. I feel like I'm being filled again." That's what movement does. It doesn't empty you. It fills you. And when done regularly, even in small doses, it begins to shift your physiology. Your capillaries open. Your muscles receive oxygen. Your heart strengthens without strain. Your mind quiets. And your intimate circulation, the flow that supports desire, arousal, and connection, wakes up again. You don't need to run. You don't need to lift weights. You simply need to move in a way that says, I haven't given up on myself. This is especially important for men who have begun to experience a sense of disconnection from their partner. So often, intimacy is affected not by desire, but by fear. The body isn't responding the way it used to, and that creates anxiety. That anxiety leads to withdrawal. And soon, the silence between two people who love each other becomes a wall. But when you begin to support your circulation, not only with food, but with breath and movement, you're not just restoring your body. You're restoring trust in yourself, in your ability to respond, in your ability to lead. And that kind of confidence, quiet, grounded, embodied, is more powerful than any medication. If you're wondering where to begin with presence. Next time you walk down the hallway, do it slower. Feel your steps. Notice your balance. If you sit often during the day, set a small timer every hour to stand, stretch, and take 10 deep breaths. If you feel stiffness in your joints, try rotating your wrists, ankles, and neck in gentle circles. These are not exercises. They are invitations to return. Return to warmth. Return to flow. Return to the version of you that still lives beneath the noise. And if you enjoy nature, let it be your medicine. Even a 10-minute walk near trees, grass, or water changes the chemistry of your blood. It reduces stress hormones. It enhances the production of nitric oxide. It regulates your heartbeat. You don't need a forest. A garden will do. A tree. A patch of sunlight. Let your body feel the earth again. Let your skin feel the air. Let your lungs take in the morning. This is healing. This is movement. This is circulation. In the next part, we'll explore how sleep, often overlooked, plays a critical role in restoring not only blood flow, but testosterone, focus, and emotional balance. I'll also show you how men after 60 can create a sleep environment that naturally supports male hormones and mental clarity. But before we rest, tell me something. Do you already have a moment in your day when you move just for yourself, not for others, not for results, but to reconnect? If not, what kind of movement would feel natural to you? And tell me from where in the world you're listening. I'd love to know the places where men are choosing to return to themselves. Let's talk about something that many men overlook until it's gone. Sleep. Not just any kind of sleep. I'm talking about deep, restorative, healing sleep. The kind that repairs tissues, balances hormones, sharpens memory, and resets your inner rhythm. It's often dismissed as optional, as something soft, passive, a luxury we'll catch up on later. But for a man over 60, sleep is not just rest. It's medicine. And here's what I've seen again and again. When sleep suffers, everything suffers. The mind becomes foggy, the blood becomes sluggish, the testosterone levels drop, the heart beats out of sync. And slowly, subtly, you begin to feel like you're slipping out of yourself. You may wake up already tired. You may fall asleep during the day but lie awake at night. You may wake up sweating or cold. Your thoughts might race, your body might feel disconnected, and your desire, both physical and emotional, may begin to fade. But what if I told you this has less to do with age and more to do with missed signals? You see, sleep is not just about closing your eyes. It's about giving your body permission to repair. It's when your brain clears toxins. It's when your blood vessels relax. It's when your testosterone is released into your bloodstream in its most concentrated bursts. In fact, did you know that the majority of a man's testosterone is produced during deep sleep? So when sleep is disrupted, your hormonal foundation begins to crack. That means your muscles don't rebuild, your energy doesn't stabilize, your libido begins to fade. Your mood becomes unsteady, and the man you know yourself to be begins to feel like someone else. But here's the good news. Sleep can be retrained. I once treated a man named Roberto. He was 68, retired, sharp-minded, but worn out. His complaints were subtle, nothing dramatic, just a slow erosion of himself. He said, "Doctor, I fall asleep fine, but I wake up 2 or 3 times every night, and when morning comes, I feel like I haven't rested at all." We talked about his habits. And what I discovered is something I find in many of my patients. They don't realize that their body is still trying to serve them. They just haven't given it the right environment to do its job. Roberto would eat dinner late. He often watched the news before bed. His bedroom had soft lights on all night, and his phone slept next to his pillow. It doesn't seem like much, but to the body, it's chaos. So we made a few changes. We moved dinner earlier. We dimmed the lights at night. We removed the screens an hour before bed. He began going to bed and waking up at the same time every day, even on weekends. And within 10 days, he began to dream again. That's how I knew it was working, because dreaming is a sign that your body is entering deep sleep, the kind where healing happens. His voice got stronger. His memory sharpened. And as he quietly admitted during a follow-up, he started waking up with natural morning vitality again, something he thought had left him forever. This is what sleep does. And if you've been struggling to sleep well, I want you to know, your body has not forgotten how to rest. It just needs guidance. Start by respecting darkness. Your brain produces melatonin, the sleep hormone, only when it senses darkness. If your lights are too bright, if your screens are glowing, if your environment is busy, your brain stays alert, confused, waiting. Dim the lights an hour before bed. Let your body transition. Let the nervous system unwind. Keep your room cool. Many older men begin to wake during the night because their bodies overheat. But testosterone, circulation, and recovery all depend on a slightly cooler body temperature during sleep. Open a window if you can. Use lighter blankets. Let the air move. Avoid stimulants in the evening. That means no coffee, no heavy meals, no news headlines that spike your cortisol. Instead, give your body what it needs to wind down. Warm water, gentle music. A book that quiets the mind instead of stimulating it. And perhaps most importantly, build a ritual. Your body loves rhythm. It wants to know when to wake and when to rest. By creating a routine that signals sleep, your body will begin to respond. You'll fall asleep faster, stay asleep longer, and wake up feeling more like yourself. Some men feel ashamed to talk about their sleep problems. They think it's small, that it doesn't matter, that it's just another part of getting older. But I'll say this clearly, the quality of your sleep often determines the quality of your life after 60. Because when you sleep well, your circulation improves, your testosterone stabilizes, your memory sharpens, your heart works more efficiently, your body begins to repair itself from the inside out. And yes, your sense of desire, connection, and identity begins to return, naturally. In the next part, I'll show you how to align food, sleep, and movement in a daily rhythm that helps keep your male hormones strong, without medication and without extremes. But tonight, I want you to try something. Before bed, turn off the lights early. Sit in silence. Breathe. Let the day go. And when you lie down, place your hands gently on your chest. Feel your heartbeat. It's still there, still steady, still yours. Now, I'd love to know, how have your nights been lately? Do you fall asleep easily? Or do you wake up often, feeling like something's missing? And where in the world are you listening to this from tonight? Let's talk about sleep together, because healing begins when you close your eyes with peace. Now that we've explored the essential pillars, food, movement, and sleep, it's time to bring them together. Because healing isn't about doing everything at once. It's about creating a rhythm, a daily pattern that tells your body, day after day, you are being cared for. And that's what I want for you. Not quick fixes, not pills, not short-term promises, but a life that feels like yours again. Let's start in the morning. You wake up. You don't rush. You sit on the edge of your bed. You breathe. You let your feet touch the ground. Before coffee, before screens, before distractions, you reconnect. Then you move. A few steps around your home, maybe 5 minutes outdoors, just to get the blood flowing, to wake up your heart and your brain. You're not doing it to burn calories. You're doing it to remind your body. It still has purpose. Next, you eat. 2 soft-cooked eggs, some dark leafy greens, maybe half an avocado, a drizzle of good oil. You don't eat standing up. You sit, you chew, you feel, and something shifts. Your body feels warm again. Your mind feels clear. Your hands begin to relax. And deep down, you begin to believe again. There's still time. As the day goes on, you stay aware of how you're moving. You don't sit too long. You stretch, you breathe, you speak slower, you listen better, you hydrate, you eat clean, whole food, Not perfect, just real. And when evening comes, you begin to slow down. You dim the lights, you disconnect from the noise, you prepare your bedroom as a place of restoration, not of worry, not of news, not of scrolling thoughts, but of peace. And then, you sleep. Not because you're exhausted, but because you're ready. This rhythm, this daily pattern, is where healing begins. It's where circulation returns, it's where intimacy reawakens, it's where clarity comes back, it's where your presence, your masculinity, and your identity settle back into place. I've seen this happen in real life. Time and again, men who thought they were fading come back, not with fireworks, but with warmth in their hands, with light in their eyes, with presence in their voice, with a softness in the way they speak to their partners, and a strength in the way they carry themselves. And when they say, "Doctor, I feel like myself again," I know we've done something sacred. Because the goal was never to be 30 again. The goal was never youth. The goal was clarity and connection and dignity. And that is something no age can take from you. You may have gone years without feeling whole. You may have forgotten what it's like to wake up with energy, to walk with purpose, to be looked at not with concern, but with admiration. But I promise you this: your body remembers. Your heart remembers. Your blood remembers. Your soul remembers. All it needs is for you to show up, every day, with small acts of care. This path doesn't require perfection. It requires presence. The presence to eat slowly. The presence to move gently. The presence to sleep deeply. The presence to speak kindly to yourself. And above all, the presence to trust that it's still possible. You are not broken. You are not behind. You are not too late. You are here, and that is enough. So tomorrow morning, when you rise, try something simple. Touch your chest, feel your breath, and say to yourself softly, "I'm still here." Because you are, and I'm here with you. If this message touched something inside you, if you felt even a small part of yourself come back to life while listening, then let me ask you one last thing. Would you share in the comments where you are in the world and one thing you want to restore in yourself starting today? Let's walk this journey together, because you're not alone, and the best of you has not passed. It's waiting to be claimed.